All right, here we go. Hopefully audio is mixed well. I have no way of knowing. That's the gamble of streaming. Honestly, I'm probably gonna turn... Game's going down a little bit. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. It's probably fine. Whoa! Josh with the tier 1 sub for 16 months. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. Hope you do continue to enjoy your emotes. I forgot we have Bink and Barnable. Life is good, thanks for asking. Well, busy. I'm tired and busy, but I'm finding fun where I can. It's not bad, it's just, you know, things are tough right now. It's fine. It happens. Barnable, yeah, Barnable has some leveling to do. Okay. We have yet to see, like, the real meat of this game and how it changes. I assume this can get very difficult very quickly. But I was doing some thinking about our team so far. What's the hack about? It's largely just some, like, difficulty changing. Based on what I read. Granted, I read about this hack, like, in the last hour of a stream a week ago. And I, like, read about it and set it up on stream. So, I don't remember a lot of details. It's some quality of life changes, some difficulty changes. It's supposed to have a steeper difficulty curve towards the end. We'll see kind of exactly what that means as we get there. So far, it's completely normal. There are some day-night UI changes. Yeah, we haven't seen any, like, major changes yet. But I was doing some thinking about our team. I feel bad because we had Dustox on our team for Radical Red, and we had Mothra. She was great. Didn't really get a chance to use her though because we stopped playing it. And I figure as long as we're playing Emeralds, we can get another Dustox. So I'm gonna do that. We're gonna have a second Mothra on this team, I'm thinking. Then I might hold off for a while because that's already half the team. It is Dustox time. Yeah, we'll have Mudkip, C-Dot, and then, you know, Cascoon. I'll just wait until we find a Cascoon and then catch that specifically so I know we're getting the right thing. Oh, I think this ROM hack also has, like, access to certain events. Like I said, it's been like a week since I read about it. I don't remember exact details. But I'd love to do some of that stuff. If I can. Yeah, I don't know what the other half of the team is gonna look like. I haven't even thought about HMs yet, shit. Bink is probably gonna have a lot of our HMs between Surf, Dive, and Waterfall eventually. Yeah. Did it? Maybe this ROM hack also makes TMs infinite use. That would be really nice. I hope that's the case. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna pull up the page for this ROM hack and just have it in the background for me to check. Okay. All Pokemon from Gen 1 to Gen 3 are here and available. There's a new evolutionary stone that evolves trade evolution exclusive Pokemon, which is actually very interesting, and I should make advantage of that. More roaming legendaries, events, different sprites, etc. Some events based on day, night, etc. and or game completion status. Pokemon from different Pokedex sections have their own battle music based on region/availability in game. Example they give is if you encounter a Pidgey, it will play Kanto's Wild Battle theme. Most events/legendaries have signature themes too. A special event Shiny somewhere. Game Corner in Mauville apparently has some surprises. Mirage Island can now be reached in a much better and honestly much more sane way than original. But only available after catching 180 plus National Dex Pokemon. Special event tickets are available via unlocking mystery gift and finding the mystery gift receptionist upstairs in all Pokemon centers. Interesting. Yeah, so just by doing certain criteria in game, you get access to some of the in-game events, which is nice. Yeah, the music stuff is nice. I like that. It's a good touch. Physical special split is a thing. That's an actual thing. Graphics have been altered. Yeah, some menu differences. TMs are reusable. That's right. Okay. Yeah, it's a somewhat steeper difficulty curve. Storyline based / secret trainers are stronger, event legendary stronger, etc. Some movesets have been altered to increase difficulty. There might be a Feebas edit. Let me check. Upgraded EXP system. All Pokemon directly participating in the battle will receive full experience, not half unless you use EXP share. Which is nice. I don't know if there are Feebas changes. I don't see any Feebas change. I did look at an Emerald hack that has that had a change to Feebas, but I don't think this one does. Yeah. That's fine. As much as I would love to have a Milotic at some point, this does not have to be that room. Maybe one day if I stream Boras, I'll have Feebas in that game. Or some other game where it's a lot more feasible. Yeah, a lot of great... It's mostly just quality of life changes, which is what I was looking for. I wanted something that wasn't like a complete overhaul, but like had a purpose and did it well. So far, I'm happy. Actually, I do want to check this. Okay. So Mudkip is a physical attacker more so. Good to know. Yeah, I just really liked Emerald when I played it last year. It was a really good time. I liked Crystal too, but that hasn't aged terrifically. It hasn't aged terribly, but hasn't aged terrifically. Some things still show their age. I definitely enjoyed Crystal more than I enjoyed Original Red and Blue. Original Red and Blue is a slog to get through these days. I don't think I'll ever beat Original Red or Blue just because it's kind of abysmal to go back to them. Crystal was fun. They're like, Crystal had enough up to date, or like relatively up to date, where it just felt like the charming kind of old, instead of just the unbearable kind of old. Also, so I was thinking about this recently. Shit, Shroomish. I've always wanted to use Shroomish's evolution too. I never have. Oh no, Biotic Grass type, never mind. We're going Shiftry. Ah, I forgot. Let me double check that the moves are... Yeah, okay. Physical special split. That's right. So, I learned recently that for, at the very least, Platinum and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, also Gen 5. Gen 5 has these too. I don't know about the other generations. So Gen 4 and Gen 5 have speedrun routes that are manipulous. There's no RNG manipulation. They're longer runs overall, but they don't require RNG manipulation, which is appealing to me because the one thing that puts me off from Pokemon speedrunning is just RNG manipulation because of how awful it is. Well, and we're good to see you, Manipulous Run hype. I was very excited when I learned it was a thing, to the point where I'm very much considering it. I need to watch a run of it to see kind of how it goes. But I mean, the guides are laid out and seemingly well documented. Like, I'm very much considering just like sitting down one stream, maybe once we're done with this, and just kind of doing a Manipulous playthrough, like following the notes but not really caring about speed. I was considering it for Fire Red. So Fire Red does have it, okay. Did you ever decide, like, specifically not to do it? Was there something that stopped you? Because for me, RNG is, like, the biggest reason why I don't want to run Pokemon. Or, like, having to manipulate RNG. Because it's so... RNG manipulation in Pokemon is so well understood and so exploited that the things you have to do are ridiculous and oddly precise. To the point where I don't think it would be fun for me. Especially to rep it again and again and again and again. So, Manipulous Run. Sounds really nice. Lack of follow-through, I'm not going for frame-perfect tricks. That is fair. Yup. Yup, F that. I agree. Yeah, Gen 3 especially. Gen 3 has just absurd manipulation. I used to follow a runner who did runs of Sapphire, and they were awful. Like, he would stream for hours and maybe get to 2 runs where he, like, got past the first few minutes. Just because the RNG manipulation in Sapphire is that precise. Like, they understand it that well, and their route is based around that, so it's that precise. And I don't want to do that. Do I have a potion so I can heal Bink? Yes, I do. Follow a guy like that now. I follow the runner who, or one of the racers who raced Fire Red and Leaf Green at GDQ, like, I think it was last SGDQ they did a race. I follow one of those racers. And I watched him briefly, and his runs are very much like that. I think Gen 3 is just like that across the board. I say as I play Gen 3. The difference is that I'm not running Gen 3. I looked into Gen 5 because Gen 5 is like probably my favorite generation. Like, it means a lot to me, but really all the generations do in some way. And Gen 5 I think actually also has the shortest manipless run, so I might just do that. Gen 5 is really good. It's great. It's super polished, the story's really cool and good. It's really great. Like, Gen 5 does not get the love it deserves. Realized today that I think Gen 5 is the only game where you can battle a not Pokemon in a real battle. What is that? I'm curious, because I can't think of it. Battling something that isn't a Pokemon? I don't remember doing that in Gen 5. I'm like on the edge of my seat here. I'm actually very curious to know what you're talking about. Silcoon! Wellendor, were you already here when I said that we're gonna get Cascoon and make a second Mothra? I feel bad that we never actually got to see Mothra in action. So, like, I could take the win, kind of, and just... Or take the L, rather. And just mark Cascoon as, like, used before. I'm not gonna do that. We're getting Cascoon on the team. Yeah, Mothra hype. She deserved it. A friend made the assertion today that Pokemon can only battle Pokemon because there's no game evidence otherwise, but then I remembered PokeStar Studios. That is true! That's true! You do that at PokeStar Studios. Yep. PokeStar Studios is weird as hell, too. I actually really like it in practice. I think it's very fun and cool. It's not for me. I don't take an interest in it, but I think it's fun and cool. The only thing I don't like about it, and I only remember this because I replayed White 2 like last year, is that the tutorial for it takes forever, and you have to do it. It takes like half an hour to get through the tutorial to PokeStar Studios. It's ridiculous. There's no reason it should take that long. Run up Rage quitting Radical Red, stupid Misty, stupid fast Greninja during her refight. Yup. I didn't even know you were still playing it. Her Greninja? During her refight? When did you refight Misty? Dude, I didn't get that far. You went above and beyond as far as I'm concerned. I could not have made it that far. I honestly doubt I would have made it through Mount Moon, to be honest. So far, what I really like about Cosmic Emerald is that it's just a lot of quality of life updates. I think the end of the game is going to have a steep difficulty curve, but I kind of don't mind. Like, the grinding on this game already isn't ideal, but swapping out Pokemon does not reduce experience gain either. It's another quality of life change, which I really like. So, really gotta take a crack at Radical Red. Never finished OG Fire Red Leaf Green, lol. Yeah. Radical Red, man... It's all on YouTube, my little rant about it. It wasn't even ranty, I just got fed up. I feel like there's a very specific way it wants you to beat every single boss, which is not fun to me. Or it's not fun for the reasons that makes Pokemon fun, I think. Other RPGs, yeah. Other RPGs, I think it's fine and even often good when bosses have like a clear solution. I think that makes them interesting to battle and figure out. Pokemon is a game based on versatility and building your own team. And if you can't do that, you miss out on a key component of what Pokemon is. By all means, go for it if you want to, but I couldn't stick with it. But I've also never finished Fire Red or Leaf Green. I tried to play through Fire Red because I own it. I tried it last year, and then got to Koga, realized I didn't have a way to evolve my Haunter, which was the party member I was most excited about. And then that was it. And I quit. I'm worried because I haven't seen a Cascoon yet. No, there's no way Cascoon and Dustox aren't in this game. There's no way they're not. There's no way they would set every single Wurmple to become a Silcoon. Hang on, let me check. Oh yeah, and they're all available in the ROM hack anyway. I'm being dumb. I'm just getting nervous. After Sabrina, you can refight the other gym leaders. They give you Mega Stones and other held items. Sabrina was actually the most fun gym fight. You got all the way to Sabrina? Isn't Sabrina like the 6th gym? You got all the way to the 6th gym? You got all the way to Blade. Are you serious? You got so far. I could not do that. Did you have to like build a new team from the ground up every time? Oh! Hi, Caterpie. Look at that. Look guys, it's Caterpie. Yeah, so there's your evidence. Cosmic Emerald, hooray. That's actually really cool, I like that. That's fun. Honestly, Kanto has a lot of dumb things about it. One of the dumbest things about Kanto is that you get a fossil in like after the first gym and then you can't revive it until right before the 7th gym. I have a lot of gripes about Kanto in general, regardless of generation. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is still the best form of those games in my opinion. I just strategized and typically won the battles with one mon at like 1 HP. Dang. Yeah. Which I really like the sound of having to change up the team just to be gym leaders. I think a weakness of Pokemon is that people just tend to stick to their 6. I think that's a strength. I've never heard that argued as a weakness, but that's interesting to me. Why do you feel that way? Because to me, Pokemon is about building your team and building it the way that you want to build it. If you want to have a team of like 6 of the same, 6 of like the busted Pokemon, or 6 of weak-ass Pokemon you just happen to like, you can do that. And it's totally viable. It's viable and it's valid. And that, I think, is a major strength of Pokemon. Even people who only ever use the 6 Pokemon that they're comfortable with, like, they have the freedom to make that choice. Which I think is a strength of it. It's not just using a strong team, but the game really does want you to strategize and take different styles of teams to counter Gym Leader. Yeah, I believe that. I forgot that it has like every Pokemon in it through every generation, so I guess you have a good selection for strong Pokemon, especially because I think newer gen Pokemon just kind of have better stats across the board, from what I understand. I generally use more than 6 in most of my runs. I just feel it opens up a lot of opportunities. I did that when I was younger. That's kind of how I played. I would more or less just catch the Pokemon that I needed to beat the gym. I think that's how I got through Crystal as a kid, or got as far as I did. And I did that kind of in Black when I played it for the first time. There were a few Pokemon that I had to like swap and like let go of. Is that Cascoon? Yeah, Cascoon. There we go. Yeah, just kind of swap out as time went on because I thought they weren't pulling their weight or anything, or they didn't have any strengths. But nowadays, I just like getting my 6. I really do. I like just having the 6 and rolling with them. That feels really satisfying to me. I definitely know there are some people who prefer to have like teams of 10 or so. Like, there are people who like to play that way. I've never understood that. I get too attached to my team. I like them too much. This should be enough. There we go. And it's a girl! I didn't even notice. I was too excited about the Cascoon, I didn't even check. It's perfect. Yes. This is Mothra. Mothra lives on. There we go. Only downside is that she's very underleveled compared to the others. Oops. Arnable caught up, though. Bullet Seed, and we can use TMs infinitely! Oh, that's so nice. And, again, Gen 5, underrated. That is Gen 5 right there, using TMs infinitely. Thank you, Gen 5, for being a really polished game. I know it's more guaranteed this way, but Dustox won't have that many moves when it evolves. Tackle is weak but helpful early. That's fair. That is more than fair. Yeah, I just wanted to have it be guaranteed. It's a good point, and like we're gonna miss out on those moves early on, but we can make up for that in the long run, especially with infinite use TMs. I can kind of just throw stuff on until it sticks. Also, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the type of the first gym. I think it's... Is it Roxanne? Is Roxanne first? And is she rock? I feel like I made the joke before of, like, the song Roxanne, but I can't remember. I want to say it's rock. Okay, so I think it is Roxanne. For some reason, I don't know why this is. It sure is Roxanne, and she is in fact Rock. Wonderful, great. Maybe it's just because of where their gyms are, but for some reason, I get Roxanne and Whitney confused. Two totally different games, two totally different generations, even different types, but I get them confused. Because more often than not, the first gym. That's fair. You cover your bases that way. Hi, Marill. That's a bruh moment. Dude, it's so weird. I also hate Whitney. That is just a long... Looks like sucks. What? I'm gonna die right now. Hey, real talk, who doesn't hate Whitney? I was talking to someone recently who liked Whitney. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, Whitney sucks. Not only is she an impossible fight, but also she just cries when she loses. She's a sore loser. If they do end up doing a Let's Go remake of Gen 2, which I hope they do, just to make Gen 2, or like, just to make Johto, like, more doable. Because even though Heart Gold and Soul Silver are good games, they're still difficult. And they still require a grind, because Gen 4 is just like that. And they're not accessible anymore. Those games are very expensive in like the used game market. And they're not available anywhere else. So if they do end up doing Let's Go Johto down the line, I genuinely hope that they change Whitney's typing to Fairy. I think them not doing it would be a missed opportunity. Whitney is a good difficulty increase, honestly. I agree. Yeah, the hard part is just that unless you have a fighting type, there's no weaknesses. And I don't even know if you can get a fighting type at that point. I don't know if they're even around. Machop? Oh, I guess Machop is there. That's true. The only other option is if you are playing, like, if you're playing Crystal, you get the daycare egg and it happens to hatch into a Tyro. But, like, those are your only options. Literally steamrolls your entire team 12 times and then won't even give you the badge. Yeah, she sucks. She's just a pain to fight. I get to her and I groan. I'm never happy about it. I never am. I think things get fighting moves, but I don't know what. I only played Johto once. That's fair. I really like Johto, just the games are very grindy. There we go, Barnable. Now you can actually do damage. It all comes together. Honestly, part of me wonders if I should just do the Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Manipulus run just so I can say I've beat the game. I never have. Like, is this not the perfect opportunity to actually do it? Not only would I beat it, I would go and beat Red. Maybe what I should do is I should follow the Manipulus guide just to beat it, and then go back and actually make a team I enjoy. And enjoy it. Like, as best I can. Because I've never done the Kanto section of Gen 2. I never have. I've never gotten there, because I've never beaten the Elite Four in Johto, ever. Actually, no, that's a lie. I forgot I beat Crystal. I genuinely forgot that I beat Crystal just now. So I've beaten the Elite Four. Didn't go into Kanto, though. And I feel like it's more worth doing in Soul Silver. That game was just even grindier. Go to Elite Four is difficult. It is. It's not only is it difficult, the level jump is huge. It's a huge level jump. If the wild Pokemon in that area are like, I think in the low 40s, and I think Elite Four gets up to high 50s, if I'm not mistaken. It's a giant jump. I think Platinum has it very similarly. I think Cynthia has one level 60 Pokemon but the wild Pokemon in Victory Road are like around low 40s. I had to trade in Pokemon from Platinum to beat Elite Four and Heart Gold. Grinding away in Victory Road did not cut it. Yup. That's what I had to do for the Elite Four and Black 2, but that's just because I was impatient. Actually, I might have done that for the Elite Four and Omega Ruby as well. Yeah, because I remember the Elite Four and Emerald last year giving me a lot of trouble, because that was like my first genuine fight of them. Remember, all of them beat up my poor Typhlosion. Yup. I think I'm right. Yeah, I think so. It sounds right to me. So again, Gen 4. Great games. Like, the real strength of Gen 4 is not in its pacing, but like, visually Gen 4 really excels. I think a lot of people really like Gen 4 because it's visually stunning and just enjoyable all around. Yeah, visually it's really strong, areas are really distinct. And the difficulty, for a lot of people, especially the older audiences, that's a huge perk. But the level jumps are ridiculous. I think everyone has more patience for a Pokemon game when it first comes out, because you're like enjoying it, it's all new to you, and you play it through, you really don't mind grinding because you're just enjoying the new game. Going back and replaying a game you've already played before, and having to grind, is a pain. And Pokemon is one of the most replayable RPGs, so it happens often. Can we talk for a minute about how Typhlosion gets no love? I'm right there with you. Typhlosion doesn't get any love. Typhlosion's great. I picked it for Soul Silver. I feel like none of the Johto starters really get much love. Other than Totodile, I guess. Yeah. I'm with you. Granted, Totodile was my first choice when I was a kid, so I'm biased to Totodile, but, like, Cyndaquil's great. Even Chikorita, like, I just have never picked Chikorita. I think as soon as I have Chikorita once, I'm full in on Chikorita. I'm sure I will be. Also, yes to Gen 3 through 5 being the golden era. I think you're probably right for our generation. I think a lot of that is nostalgia. Because the reality is that even though I don't think they're like bad games or anything, but in terms of gameplay, like in terms of actual mechanics and polish, the newer generations are far superior. I don't think they're as strong of entries in terms of visuals or story, but I think mechanically the new ones are stronger. Truth be told, I think the next generation will kind of get to our age and say that 6 through 8 was golden era. I think nostalgia bumps that up, because a lot of people think that Gen 1 and 2 is golden era, and like once they hit Gen 3, everything tanked, which I think is wrong. Because I think Gen 3 and onward is great, because I think all of it's great. But I think nostalgia has a huge role to play in that, unfortunately. Typhlosion has stats comparable to Charizard, but a shit moveset. Yeah, kinda. I don't like any of them all, at least Typhlosion aren't gold. I'll admit to Gen 3 being nostalgia, but I don't really think 6 and on are that great. I don't enjoy Gen 6 now. I enjoyed it when it first came out. I had a great time with it. Replaying it is hard. But I give serious props to Gen 6 for advancing the franchise in the way it did. Introducing and polishing up mechanics, or not even polishing up mechanics, but introducing new ones. That frankly just like needed to be polished up. Bringing it into the 3D era, and that's hard to do. The pacing of it I don't like. I don't like the pacing of Gen 6, and that's the biggest issue for me. Mega Evolution is the big draw, and it's wonderful. Mega Evolution, I think, is still the most fun gimmick of all the newer gens. But you don't get it until 3/4 of the way through the game. And even then, you don't get most of the Mega Evolutions until you're already done with the game. weird. I don't know why they did it that way. It doesn't make any sense. 7... Gen 7 I really like in pretty much every regard, to be honest with you. Like, it was a good time. My only disappointment with Gen 7 is that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon didn't really do anything new. Like, they weren't substantial changes. They weren't really definitive additions. They didn't, like, do anything great. Do I want to learn Nature Power? Yeah, forget Growth. And Gen 8 is very accessible for a lot of reasons. And again, I think Gen 8 is going to be similar to Gen 6 in the long run, where it's a huge stepping stone. It probably won't hold up in the long term. Even short term, people are not happy with it, but I think a lot of that is unjust. But I think that Gen 8 is going to be directly responsible for huge successes in the future. 4 and 5 are really good. Sinnoh Region is beautiful, and Gen 5 has a very good story. I agree. I like Megas as well, but the definitely could have been done better. Yep. 7 I like a lot too. It was a nice change from the formula, and the story wasn't bad. Agree on Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, apart from Rainbow Rocket. Not a fan of most of the Pokemon designs, but that's opinion. Then I guess this all is. I never got to Rainbow Rocket. I don't even think I beat the Elite Four in Ultra Sun. I kind of just didn't care at that point. Like, I think it's a good game, but it was only a year after Sun and Moon came out, so it's not like I was really itching for a replay. Also, you, like, lost out on certain gameplay elements. Like, remember how in Sun and Moon you had the Zygarde cells and you were just making forms of Zygarde as you went? You just had it. You don't have that in Ultra Sun and Moon. It's just gone. You get Totem Pokemon instead, which don't really matter. And by the time you get them, they're kind of underleveled compared to where you are in the game anyway. It's weird. So I never got to Rainbow Rocket. I know a lot of people liked it. I never got to it, so I don't really care. It is really good mechanically and is super accessible, especially for like competitive stuff. Some cool mods too. Yeah. I think 8's really solid. I really do. There's a certain charm to it that I think it's lacking. I think it might just be story. Definitely railroads more than other games, it feels like, which is unfortunate. Especially because it doesn't even railroad you anywhere. Like, narratively, it doesn't really lead you to any conclusions throughout it. Like, it's not that there's even like a real plot twist about where the story goes, because it's not like you really know enough to make any assumptions about like who the villain is anyway. Like, any kind of plot twist about, like, the villain or the end of the game has less to do with what the narrative tells you and what you understand narrative to be like as a longtime Pokemon fan. It's kind of a meta plot twist, if anything, and it's not really done well. It's weird. Sorry for spoilers. One thing that was cool about Radical Red is they turned Gigantamax forms into Megas. That is cool, and I like that. If only I'd gotten there. Literally, don't blame me for not getting into RR Rainbow Rocket. I was so bored playing through it because it was so similar. Barely made it to Ultra stuff. Rainbow Rocket, yeah. It definitely has the most story, though. Has the worst story, though, and I say that with 6 in mind. Yeah, because at least with 6, like, at least the motivation is clear and there's an actual villain. Even if it's not necessarily told well, at least you know what the story is. Even if it's not compelling, you know what the story is. Gen 8, like, oddly tries to distance you from the plot, but also demands that you follow the plot, because it will not let you progress otherwise. It's weird. Frankly, I think Pokemon has really cool stories if they just were to actually commit themselves to telling the stories and have them be major parts of the game, instead of having them and then pretending like they're not important, so then you have a weird split between what the game's focused on. But that's just me. Galar is super linear too, a couple cool areas, but they're way too small compared to previous gens. I talk with friends about Pokemon a lot, but one of the things I always bring up, because people talk about that a lot, they talk about the size of like the size of towns and stuff. Oh, dude, what's funny? Weems are funny. Hell yeah. Weem. She doesn't get it. The weird thing, and this is true not just of Pokemon, but I think of video games in general. Pokemon, for a long time, was a 2D franchise. When you take that and translate that to 3D, like, because you're in 2D, and specifically in 2D on a small screen, everything feels bigger. Like, this feels huge. The scale of this feels huge right now. Like, we are one little tile. We could take up one tile, and look how many tiles there are. It's like, this is huge. It's huge. There are so many buildings. There's like 6 buildings. Whoa. If you translate a town, granted a city, with like 6 buildings to 3D, you feel cheated. And I think it's just the translation from 2D to 3D, like, our perception of space is different, especially on like a 16:9 screen versus like a 4:3 or a 5:3, whichever the GBA is. Like, it's a very different perception. So I think one of the problems that Pokemon is having right now that people don't like is that, like, they're delivering on everything that has worked for them in the past in 2D. But they didn't make any real innovations to capitalize on 3D space other than depth being more clear. And it's not like there wasn't depth in 2D games already. Have! Good to see you! Hi! Thank you so much for the host! How are you doing, man? Love the dab emote. That's clean. That's so clean. But yeah, I think if you took everything with Gen 8, like every town, every area, and you changed it to a 2D overworld, I think people wouldn't have any complaints. I think people would be thrilled about it. But the fact that it's in 3D makes it feel bare bones just because there's more space and they don't use it all. Does that make Gen 8 worse of games? I don't know. I don't think so. But do as well as possible in my current situation. That is more than fair, man. Yeah, how are you feeling? I'm doing eh. What am I fighting right now? Machop? I've been animating for like 4 weeks straight to finish up my like thesis film essentially. Bev with the follow, thank you so much. Did that pop up on stream? Or did that not? I didn't see it if it did. It should have popped up on here. Someone let me know if it didn't. Yeah, just 4 weeks of animating non-stop and trying to do stuff. It did? Okay, cool. Man, just tired. That's fair. Hopefully everything passes quickly. Yeah, just 4 weeks of animating straight and trying to do as much as possible. I'm just very tired. So, streaming regularly again has been very nice, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great way to just break up the constant work cycle. But it's, you know, school and everything's taking its toll. It happens. Yeah, Streamlabs was funky for a while, and just like not showing alerts on stream and not like telling me when there were alerts, but it seems fine now. They might have just patched it and fixed it. It's good, you gotta find some kind of break. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I don't know if I've talked about this at all on stream yet. So I'm a senior in college, and I'm an animation student, so part of my main class, my main focus this year, is to finish my capstone, essentially my senior film. Like, here's the film that demonstrates everything I've learned and everything I can do. So I started that in September. I took a winter break, and now I'm in like my second, it's a quarter, but it's really like a trimester, because there's 3 trimesters during the year. Point is, I'm supposed to be done with it by the end of February, start of March. Because I've, in theory, been working on it from September until then. Except I took my winter break in like end November and December and realized I don't like my film. I think it's too long, I think it's overworked, and I don't really have any stake in it. I'm gonna start from scratch. So I did that. So I went from having a 6-minute overworked film to a 1-minute really enjoyable and I think delightful film, but it means that I've been working very hard to play catch up. Oh no, the worst thing for every artist? It really is! And like, I've been an artist long enough. I'm like, this feeling isn't foreign to me by any means. Like, it's definitely not new. But the fact that I had to like come to terms with that, because also, even if I had stuck with the original project, right? I only had like, I didn't even have 30 seconds animated. There was no way I was going to finish it, like, by the end of this quarter. It just wasn't going to happen, logistically. I have a very specific system for myself. I only work from, like, the time I get up till dinner. And after dinner, I'm done working for the day, in most cases. Because my reasoning is, like, if that's roughly the schedule I'm going to have, if I'm, like, working in a studio or, like, regular daily job, why would I overwork that? Why would I work more than that now and get used to a schedule I can't keep up? But there was just no way it was going to happen. I really don't need Bide on 2 of my Pokemon, let's be honest. Yeah, so that explains my 4 weeks straight, basically, of just animating nonstop and being very tired because I'm trying to play catch up. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there, and I really like it, and I'm happy to share it when it's done. Just worried I'm not going to get it done in time anyway. But I'll still be closer than I would have been before, so there are worse things. Sorry for big message. Oh, I saw it. It's like a wall of text. I'm excited to read this. Actually, Nikata might be ground. Definitely agree with the perspective logic, but I think the issues with Galar and Gen 8 are still there. I actually think it does a really good job of making the cities feel big, despite not much actually traversable area in some of them. Like, Wyndon is one of the coolest cities in Pokemon, but all the routes, and especially caves and forests, are really small. Like, I can do a lap around Galar in the time it takes me to get from Mauville to Fort Tree and Hoenn, which is 2 cities. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's a good point. Wyndon's still great. I really like it. I wish there was more to do. I would say the content feels lacking, but I feel like I have that argument every time. Like, in my head, Pokemon has a certain amount of content, but I feel like every Pokemon game surprises me with the lack of content I feel like it has, so maybe just my perception is off, because when I played them as a kid, everything felt bigger and more substantial. And then I hope you get done soon and can get some rest. I can't wait to see it. Thanks so much, Kev. I appreciate that. I'll be sure to share it, like, everywhere I can online and stuff as soon as it's done. Hopefully I finish it by the end of the month. We'll see. I'm not. Don't tell my prof. I'm not expecting to, frankly. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, damn you. But I'm depressed and trying my best. I don't have high hopes. Mothra. What? Do we get Dustox to level 10? I can't remember. Radical Red was not that long ago, but I can't remember. Yay, we do! Okay. Apparently it wasn't too long ago. Yeah. Dustox, you look great. He also removed a lot of staples like Game Corner and Shopping Mall and contests and other random stuff. Yeah, I forgot we learned Confusion immediately. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I don't know. think they tried... We say that gimmicks are kind of new to Pokemon, but it's really just, like, solely battle gimmicks. Because it's not even like battle gimmicks are new. Gen 5 had rotation battles and triple battles. And I don't think people remember that. People forget that rotation battles are a thing that Gen 5 actually tried to do. There are like 3 of them in the game, maybe? Unless you do Battle Subway and specifically do rotation battles? They're a thing. Nobody really remembers. I think that it's because even when we try not to have any expectations, we still have some expectations of the content we receive. But I can talk all day long about Pokemon and the amount of content. I'm very invested in the series and where it falters and where it excels. I get that, and I think that's very valid. Yeah, like everyone has expectations, like you can't avoid that. The hard part from a consumer standpoint, and the thing that I think a lot of consumers fail on in the gaming world, is some people have expectations beyond reasonable expectations, to the point of like, no one has ever promised or even suggested that you were going to get this thing. It crosses the line of expectations and hopes to entitlement. And there's a very thick line there that I think a lot of people cross. And I think that's why we see a lot of unhappy gamers in the community. In Pokemon especially. I think there are definitely valid critiques of more recent Pokemon games, but I think a lot of them are invalid, or just like not necessarily large critiques. Rotation battles were so cool. Were a good way to level grind in X and Y. Were rotation battles in X and Y? I don't even remember if they were. I played X recently and I don't remember if they're there. Like, rotation battles add an element of strategy that I actually kind of like. Definitely nerve-wracking though. If there was like a mechanic where you could do like a attack on the rotation, like a weaker attack on rotation, I think I would like that. Or like, maybe if Pokemon that aren't in front, their abilities are still in play. Something where it actually gives you a reason to have the rotation, because otherwise you're just doing a regular Pokemon battle, but instead of switching Pokemon out, you have the rotation. And that's like a more concrete element. It's very weird. Isn't God the Pokemon community's entitled as hell? Yeah, they were. And they are. It just... I think it's just because, like, for a lot of people, Pokemon is a childhood delight. And they feel entitled to the thing they liked as kids. Like, oh, like, this was my childhood. You can't take that away from me. It's like, no one's taking it away from you, dude. It's just different. Is it even worth going back to? Yeah, it's worth going back anyway. Yeah, I think people, because they like it as kids, go to it for a sense of, like, whatever feeling of calm you get for playing games, like, from your childhood. Like, I think they're comfort games for a lot of people. Especially because if you play them as a kid, they're very familiar to you. So when things change or aren't up to what your code is or your expectations, I think that upsets people because it's something very near and dear to them. And I get that on a human level. Still entitlement. Still not great. I said this last night to some friends. We were talking about Paper Mario, and I said, look, Paper Mario, like, is a great series, and like the first 2 Paper Mario games are solid RPGs. But to all the people who complain every single time a new Paper Mario game comes out that it's not a real Paper Mario game, like, at this point, the Paper Mario franchise is a vast majority not traditional RPG. So at this point, if you don't like any of the new games, you don't like Paper Mario. And some people don't want to hear that, because I think for some reason we as people are attached to saying we like something. But the reality is that statistically, they don't actually like the thing they say they like. It can be hard to accept, but like at some point, maybe something changes or goes on without you and you don't like it anymore. Or you change and don't like it anymore. And that's fine. I think we just have a hard time letting go. And I think for a lot of people, Pokemon is the same way. If people don't like Pokemon games, they can just not play them. They can accept that Pokemon has moved in a direction they don't like and be okay with that and just stick with the older games. But people refuse to do that. And that's entitlement. It's weird. Sword and Shield definitely put a lot of work into Wild Area, Isle of Armor, Crown Tundra, which is very good, but there's clearly a lot less effort put into the rest of the region. I wonder... I would love to know about some of the development, like actual behind-the-scenes development. I haven't even done Crown Tundra, which is sad, because apparently that's like the best of the 2 DLCs. But I wonder if it's like a Final Fantasy 15 situation, where the DLC like makes it feel more substantial and complete than it actually was. As a former competitor in the VGC scene for the last forever, I get what I get out of Pokemon games every time. Like, I have little to no qualms with it. Yeah. I think it's a good mentality to have. Like, I think it's a good mentality for media in general. Like, you get what you get, enjoy it for what it is, and then you can move on. I try to, like, part of the reason why I like playing games blind is I like seeing how the game presents itself. I like seeing how it presents itself so I know how it wants me to play it, and I can go on the ride of how it's meant to be played. You know, it's like watching a movie for the story. Like, you know, in the same way that narrative is a means of telling the story, but they're 2 separate things. Like, there's like a mechanical narrative to games, and just in how they're played, and I can't word it better than that. But that's part of the fun for games, and I think if people started playing more games the way that they want to be played instead of the way that they want to play them, they would find more happiness. Some games encourage you to play the way you want to play, and then fail to give you the ability to do so, and that's a different thing. But that's rarely actually the problem. I just like another Super Mario RPG like the SNES one. I love the game so much. I love all the other Mario RPGs, that's just my favorite one. That's a good game. I streamed that like 2 years ago now. I didn't end up beating it because I had to grind for the final boss, and then I didn't do that. But it was a really good game. It's got a lot of charm. I'm a Mallow fan for life. Mallow's great. It still shocks me that Geno is as popular as he is. I don't understand why. I expected Geno to play a much larger role in the game, and he kind of just doesn't. Like, Mallow legitimately has more to offer narratively. It's just not Geno. And I wonder if it's just like character design, because Geno has a great character design. Don't get me wrong, and the concept of Toy come to life is cool. But I feel like he was not actually that strong of a character in the game. Geno, the whole hype of Geno confuses me to no end. I'm okay with it. I've never got it. Yo, I just want to make an RPG. You and me both, man. I've tried to make an RPG so many times. And then a Metroidvania, and now an RPG again. I'm really flip-flopping on ideas. Can we talk about the lack of easy accessibility we have to 3DS capture devices? Dude, I will gladly talk about that. Let me catch up in chat, and then I will launch into a tirade, because I got thoughts, man. I definitely like the most of the games. I think X and Y was really the only Pokemon game I did enjoy playing. I've been getting into VGC too, and I definitely appreciate what Sword and Shield has offered competitive. Yeah, it seems like VGC is thriving right now. And not only just for like card opening streams and stuff, but like it seems like they're introducing new mechanics and stuff that seem really effective. And competitive seems to thrive as well. Because Geno's strongest move has a chance that it can one-shot every boss, including the secret bosses. Oh, that makes sense. That tracks. Yup. I didn't know that. That's very funny. I like it when that's in games. I think it's goofy and dumb. If something is dumb and nonsensical, I probably like it. But yeah, 3DS capture devices. I was tweeting about this all day. I'm mad that the 3DS is impossible to capture. DS as well, but 3DS especially. Because there were like 2 companies that can make capture cards, and one of them is out of business, and the other one is like around, I think, but still expensive. It's $170 just for the capture card component. Trying to make a capture card? Maybe. I wanted to look into it, so I opened up my I spent 4 hours today. I took my old 3DS off the shelf. That's already faulty, so like if I ruin it, no big deal. Or no, it's a big deal, but I'm never gonna sell it anyway because it has this sentimental value to me anyway. But I thought if I can open up the 3DS and look and see how it works, maybe I could reverse engineer a capture card. And the frustrating thing that I learned today is like, in theory, I know exactly what you would have to do. And in fact, like, it doesn't seem that complicated. Like, I was looking at pictures of installed capture cards. I understand exactly what they're doing. I just don't have the means of making the parts you need to build a capture card. I don't have the custom, like, ribbon cable to do it. I don't have a custom, like, circuit board and whatever chips are on it to do it. But in theory, it's actually very simple. It's a very simple concept. It's just hard to execute because it requires technical know-how. I can do the technical know-how if I have the parts. Also, nobody just sells, like, just the capture card. They only offer an install service, which is much more expensive. I could probably save $100 if someone would just sell me the capture card and I could do it myself. I've fixed a lot of gaming stuff now. I feel comfortable doing that. Portable! So yeah, the odds of me actually making a capture card are slim to none. I know how I could, in theory, but I don't have the... I have the theoretical knowledge, but not the technical know-how. There was Katsukitty and that one dude who did it and then just, like, stopped. Yeah, that's Loopy. Loopy's the other one, and I think he still does it? At the very least, the website is still open and allows you to buy one. And there was also a software update, like, last month to the capture software, so he may or may not still be doing it. I really don't know, but even then, that's a $170 mod, and that's just for the modding, because you still need to send in your old 3DS, and it's only your old 3DS. It doesn't work on any of the new models. So in my case, my old 3DS is already unreliable, so ideally, if I were to have to mod one for capture, I would get a new one. But even a used old 3DS would probably set me back like 80 to 100 bucks. And then I would need to pay the 170 for the capture card, and then however much it would cost for me to ship it to the person. So getting a capture-ready 3DS would probably set me back around $300, which is not worth it. It's just not. There's a reason why DS and 3DS is really demanded for emulation. It's because capturing them is impossible. Emulation of the consoles would probably go in decline if the consoles themselves were actually capturable. Oh, I'm dumb. I don't need to be here yet. Whoops. I always do that when I play this game. What sucks is, like, Nintendo has them. They sent one to a friend of mine who makes content for a promo thing, and it worked on the new 3DS models, and at Pokemon events, when you played on the official stream on stage 1 of the systems, had a capture card attached to it. I forget that Abra is here. I've already used Alakazam before, so that's not going on team. Love you, Abra. You're great. Yeah, and that's frustrating, too. Like, Nintendo has the capability. The weird thing, too, because not only do they have the technology and, like, have used it, but looking at what a capture card does, it's not complicated. It's not some miracle feat of engineering. Like, it's some soldering and running another ribbon cable. All it would do is, like, all it really does is make your 3DS a little bit bulkier in the back. So the thing I'm confused about, right, is you could legitimately just have shipped the 3DS with an ability to, like, export to HDMI or USB or micro USB, whatever. You could have shipped a console with that ability, but they didn't? Because maybe that didn't match up with the handheld vision? And, like, I never thought about it until I looked into it today, and I realized, why didn't they just do that? Like, we could... People talk about the Wii U being this revolutionary concept because you have a gamepad that corresponds to a console. Like, honestly, they could, like, give us the cable so we can just use to redirect the video to another source. The PSP could do it. They sold the PSP output cord. Are you serious? Yeah, why? I don't know why. I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't do it. It baffles me. again, hadn't thought about it until like today. But it's a very good point of why wouldn't you just do that? It's an easy profit. Not only is it an easy profit, you would cut down on piracy and emulation of the games, which Nintendo was very against. It would be killing two birds with one stone if they just sold that hardware. They just don't. I don't know why. Sony sold an official cord to output video from the PSP. Damn, I want that so bad. Youngster me! I thought about, right? Like, could you make a cable? The only cables on the old 3DS are the aux port and the charging port. The charging port doesn't handle video signals at all, as far as I know. Unless that's just like a hidden feature of the official Nintendo capture things that nobody talks about. Which they should, for the record, if that's the case, because that would make it even easier. Okay, this isn't the Emerald Gym music. No, I think they changed, I mean, they changed the music we read about earlier, but I think they changed this one too. That's right, it is you, youngster Josh, it's you. It's youngster us. The amount of 3DS games I would stream, oh my god, same. I would love to. Look, I have really no desire to speedrun original Ocarina of Time, just because all of the arbitrary code execution, like, kind of ruins it for me. Ocarina 3D is not even, like, broken in the sense of, like, it's unplayable. It's not, like, broken. It's just, it's weird, the stuff you can do in it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I think it's the funniest shit in the world. Like, I would love to stream or speedrun any of the 3D Zeldas, like any of the 3DS Zeldas. I could stream the DS and 3DS Pokemon games, because also with 3DS you would have access to stream and capture DS gameplay legitimately on console. Because even though DS emulators exist and are very reliable and function quite well, trying to play that with a controller and a mouse for touchscreen functionality sucks. It would be so much better just to capture it on, like, actual hardware. You just can't. It would be so good. I would stream all of Mega Man Star Force. I love Mega Man Star Force, haven't played it in years. I would stream a whole marathon of Mega Man Star Force in a heartbeat. What else do I have? My library's right here. I got other stuff, I just don't remember what. Real talk, I would stream Dragon Quest IX. I would stream Dragon Quest IX. I love that game. There have been rumors about Dragon Quest IX getting a Switch port for ages, and that's the one remake or remaster rumor that I actually, like, genuinely hope is true. That's the only one that actually gets my hopes up these days. Dragon Quest IX was so good, that game needs a port bad. It does! It really does! It's a great game. That was the game that got me not only into Dragon Quest, but into RPGs in general. Into JRPGs in general, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I'd ever played a JRPG before Dragon Quest IX. I'd meet friends at the bookstore to play it together. Oh, that's the dream! I had one friend, because I was in 5th grade, I think, when it came out. I was young. But I had one friend who also played RPGs, and JRPGs specifically, and we would hang out and play together. It's a good game. And the grotto system is so good. Even if you're not doing multiplayer, even if you're just playing it on your own with, like, you know, custom-made party members, like, you have grottos that are incredible. The story, somehow, you were in college when it came out? Yeah, there's an age gap between us. Sorry, Kev. If it makes you feel any better, I forget that there's a substantial age gap between us. Maybe it's just because I feel like an old man sometimes, but... Turned 30 this year. Hey, big 3-0. Love it. How does it feel? I'm not close to 30. I don't know how I feel about the fact that I'll eventually turn 30. Part of me is excited and part of me is dreading it. Yeah, Dragon Quest IX somehow did something that I feel like is impossible for other games, where you have a silent protagonist. You have a totally silent and like even mostly a blank emotional slate protagonist whose story actually feels relevant and is gripping to you as a player. I feel like most games don't actually need a silent protagonist. They just have them because they're kind of a tradition, and I feel like more often than not, it actually hinders the storytelling. Dragon Quest IX, against all odds, does it very well. I don't know how. Something about it just hits right. I should have saved before this. Oops. Everyone tells me the 30s are where it's at, so I'm excited. Hey, honestly, good. I'm happy for you then. Way to go. Make it to your 30s, rock it. My Requiem for a Persona game with a non-assigned pro tag. That is the one gripe I had with Persona 5. I loved it so much. That game would be a million times better if Joker actually emoted at all. Ever. At least Persona, there's like a mechanical argument for it because you have choices in, like you have dialogue options, so you're kind of imbuing them with personality, but even then it doesn't really read. Like just have a non-silent protagonist, it's okay. Especially with Persona 5, where they wrote a really great cast of characters. Every character in that game is really strong. They're written really well. You can write one more. It's also weird because the game opens with this long animated cutscene that makes Joker look like kind of a snooty, like kick-ass thief. He looks great. He seems happy. Like he feels exactly the way the player does in that moment. If you feel like a suave badass, and then you play the game and he's just staring at everybody. There's no need for that. There's no need. Just write a character. They even like kind of wrote the character because he's there and snarky in the cutscene. He's just not in the game. Why? You know, one thing I liked about FF7 Remake was Cloud was very vocal. Yeah, I've never finished the original FF7. I still need to do that one day. But I did really appreciate that with 7 Remake. I like that he had a personality. And granted, his personality was like... I'm sure people could argue that his personality in 7 is kind of like blank slate-ish. But it's less of blank slate and more just like kind of emotionally detached. And kind of just ignorant to everything happening. It's the funniest shit to me that Cloud is just oblivious to everyone liking him. He just doesn't get it. And I think that reads really well, and I think it's very funny. And I think it plays well. And then you play Persona 5, and you have romance options, except none of them feel believable, because Joker doesn't say anything for like 40 hours when you meet a person, and then suddenly it's like, I love you. I always have. It's like, have you, Joker? Have you ever felt love? Oh, Def talks a bit in FF7, but yeah, they took his character farther in Remake, especially by fleshing out Jessie. I like Jessie a lot. I know she's hardly a character in Original, and that makes me sad, because I think she's... Like, I love the Avalanche crew in Remake. I think they're great. Honestly, I know that all of FF7 Remake is like this episodic thing. I would love for Avalanche DLC, just to get more time with just them. Like, do some missions as the Avalanche gang. Like, even just as a prequel leading up to 7 Remake, I think that'd be great. Yes, 100% agree. His personality opens up so much at the end of original FF7, which is why I like in the remake that he has a kind of personality from the jump. Yeah. I gotta finish 7. I genuinely wish I liked ATB, I just don't. And that's such a hindrance. I would play so much more Final Fantasy if I liked the ATB system at all. I would have finished Final Fantasy 9 if I liked the ATB system. I love everything about 9 on paper, I just don't like ATB. It's me and my New Game Plus playthrough Persona 5 when I romanced every romance option, and boy, that made for some fun on Valentine's Day. Just knowing that you can do that gives me anxiety. I can't even imagine. Bink! Bink Evolution! Here we go! Look at Bink! Look at Bink! You should check out FF7 Machina Bridged. I want to play it though. Like, I know enough of the story from Final Fantasy VII, at the very least just from the Starbomb song. Like, I would rather just play it. There's so much of that game that like doesn't get covered, I feel like, in the greater story. Because I think when people talk about it, a lot of the time, or at least like review sites talk about it, they talk about it as like this gritty, like, political commentary. And granted, I think it is. But it's also just weird. There's like a snowboarding section, I think. Nobody talks about that. Like, I want to play the game and genuinely enjoy it because I think it's a great game. It's just weird. It's ATB. FF9 is my favorite FF title. I think I remember that about you, Kev. I think a lot of people like it. I played a lot of it. Like 2 years ago. I got it on Switch, I played it, and I love it on paper. I love a lot of the ideas behind it, especially the character design. I love the atmosphere, I love the character design. I like the combined character abilities, I think that's great. Like, there are a lot of parts of that game that I really like. I just hate ATB. I think it's stressful and doesn't add anything to gameplay for an RPG. I get that it was the classic formula, but I don't see a need for it. It's worth noting, too, that, like, I'm spoiled because my first Final Fantasy was 10. And, like, maybe just because of that, or I, you know, just coincidentally, I think that FF10 has the best combat in FF. I think it's incredible. But ATB is so hard for me to get behind, which is why I want, very badly, for there to be a mod just to get rid of ATB and make all the classic Final Fantasies turn-based. I would be the happiest man alive if that happened, and I would play every single one. Really want to try Persona 5, gonna need a PlayStation though. It's so good, man. It was a great purchase. It took me like 110 hours to beat my first playthrough, and I didn't even get to the Royal content. I need to do New Game Plus to get to it because I missed it by accident. FF7 is very good and I should try to play it. I want to. I thought about streaming it like a month ago when I got back after my like a New Year's break. I just decided against it. I'm playing through Earthbound casually right now, just like very much taking my time, trying to enjoy it for what it is, and I might do that with FF7 afterward. FF7 is a good game, I think. People really put it on a pedestal though, because it was the first 3D FF. And it's used the FF formula a lot, but on the whole, it's just another FF game. Yeah. I can tell it's really solid. And I can definitely tell that like other games improved on what it introduced to the franchise, and that's fine. But that, you know, it's kind of the reason I want to play it. Whenever a game defines an era or defines its own franchise in some way, shape, or form, I think it's always worth a play, even if it's bad. Like, for instance, do I think that Sonic Adventure holds up in the long term? No. Do I think it's important to play because of its place in Sonic's history? Yes. Sonic Adventure is fun just because it's, like, goofy and wacky and a good Sonic Adventure. I don't know if it holds up. That'd be my first fantastic. FF10 is one of my faves. It's so good. It's so good. I need to finish 10 too. I never did. 10 is so good. I love that game. I would consider speedrunning that game if the speedrun was in 12 hours because you can't skip cutscenes. Gotta finish FF10. I also like to take a look at Earthbound. Xenoblade really got me in a JRPG mood. Alright, remind me, are you still playing through Xenoblade 1, Josh, or are you playing through 2? Playing through 2, yeah. Earthbound and Mother 3 are chef's kiss. I haven't even played Mother 3 yet. This is my 4th time trying Earthbound. The past 3 times, I just, like, haven't fallen in love with it. Similarly to FF9, I really like everything on paper, but I was like missing mechanics and some of the things that I feel like it just didn't tell me, so I wasn't fully into it. This time I like sat down and read the manual to learn all the mechanics. I'm being very deliberate to talk to every single person I can meet to make sure I don't miss anything or any of the weird decisions it has you go through. And hopefully that will make it more enjoyable for me. I don't even know when I learned Gust. Probably just missed it looking at chat. Oh, don't uproar, what? Sonic Adventure 2 is so dumb and janky, it's so much fun. It is! I played that recently with 2 of my friends and did like Chow Guard and stuff too, which is so out of my normal wheelhouse. It was such a blast. It's janky as hell, and the final levels are super demoralizing and difficult. And like, not because they're difficult in terms of skill cap, but difficult because they're just like, there's a lot to do and it doesn't always work the way it's supposed to, probably. But it's fun. It's just fun. Sonic is like that. Sonic has that kind of power for some reason. Because it 2 is so good and I have no idea how. I played it long after the fact and I love it to death. It's good. Like, it's not great, but it's good, somehow. Against all odds. It's definitely got style. It's got charm up the wazoo and it serves it really well. It like knows exactly what it is, which always helps. Finished Xenoblade this week. Right now I'm playing through Future Connected, and there's still a lot of endgame stuff I want to get to in main game that I skipped in favor of finishing the story. I'd love to get to Xenoblade 2 at some point, but I might want to try a different game first. That is fair. I didn't do any endgame stuff for Xenoblade 1 because, frankly, I was tired of it by the end. I've talked about this before. I loved 2. Loved it to death. I didn't even do endgame stuff for 2. I should. I thought about replaying 2, actually, on New Game Plus. I'm so tempted, but I also don't want to have to... I don't want to miss out on endgame / post-game stuff by doing New Game Plus, but I'm also so out of it now, I don't know if I would care about it at this point. Yeah, 1 was weird. The pacing of 1, I don't understand. I just don't get it. Oh shit, I should teach someone cut, shouldn't I? Could someone just learn cut? Barnable can, which isn't bad. Nature power would be cool in theory, but I don't like relying on additional variables like that. There's kind of no need for it at this point. Yeah, I really liked Chronicles 1 a lot. There's not a lot of games I actually want to do endgame stuff in, but I'm so in love with it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I really am. Yeah, I'm bummed I didn't fall in love with it the same way I think a lot of other people do. I think just the storytelling was not my favorite. I think it fell short on that in that regard. Granted, I don't think 2's is perfect either, but 2 left me with questions that I wanted answered, and 1 I feel like didn't. I can't say any of the plot twists really ever surprised me, because Xenoblade in general loves dramatic irony. They love it. And I feel like a lot of games and stories lately are going in favor of dramatic irony, which I hate. Frankly, I don't think dramatic irony is as effective as people want it to be all the time. Like, it has its roots in drama, like theater drama, and I think it works really well then. I don't think it works as well as people thinks it does in video games and movies. At some point, when you're doing dramatic irony, at some point, I think you are actually giving up the shock. Because, like, people are trying to... I did a whole thread about this that took me, like, 40 minutes the other day. I think the way you tell your story, you're telling a story through the lens of a certain character, or characters. So, if something shocks them, like, if you want something to shock the player or the audience, you have to shock the character. The problem is that, for some reason, games like media in general likes to go with dramatic irony, so they tell you things, and I think the attempt is to try and build a feeling of tension and, like, anticipation of, like, oh shit, what are we getting into that we don't even know about? But in the case of Xenoblade 1 for me, it just told me too much. I figured everything out before, and Xenoblade 1, like, as soon as you're done with the tutorial, starts with dramatic irony, and I figured out plot points it didn't tell me for another 40 hours. All because they showed me stuff. If you want something to be a mystery, that's fine. Just have it be a mystery. Let people be shocked. And granted, I am a story person to some extent, but I'm not like a writer. I would not call myself a writer. Why the fuck do you have a full restore? Tell me that. Why the fuck do you have a full restore? Yeah, I don't think people use it in an effective way. I think it ends up just ruining the storytelling. I'd rather just be shocked and go for the ride. Man, I live for dramatic irony. Just ask any of my D&D players. D&D I could see it working in though, because also with D&D is dramatic irony the tabletop game. It has to be. Because like if you were playing in a group and you're sitting, like if you're playing in a group and your group splits up, you're gonna hear about your friends doing stuff in one area, and then you, the player, are gonna know they're doing stuff in another area, but your character doesn't know. So to play D&D well, usually, you play in character. You don't have the information. You can't act on it. But that's how D&D is meant to be played, because you're playing a character. In a video game, you're usually not playing a character. You're usually just playing the game. Because also, like, you don't have a level of freedom in video games that you do in D&D. Frictionless, good to see you, welcome. We're talking about storytelling. You don't have the freedom in video games as you do in D&D, so you can't, like, you aren't really playing a character ever. I think dramatic irony can add tension and add a lot of suspense, but not when it comes at the cost of, like, a story reveal or, like, a plot point. I think the problem is that I think dramatic irony has to be subtle, in my opinion. So like if you, say you have a cast of 3 characters, you have one main character, and for the most part, the audience's view of the story, is through the lens of the one character. Your 3 characters are standing together. 3. The main character, this is your main character walks away. After they walk away, the 2 remaining characters look at each other and have a dialogue akin to, should we tell them? No, we'll tell them when the time is right. That's dramatic irony. Now the audience knows something is up that the main character doesn't know. It's dramatic irony, plain and simple. But they haven't told anything as to what it is. You, the audience, just know that something is amiss, that there's something that you don't know. And I think that's very effective. You're not giving anything away, you just, like, you're being told directly that you don't know everything. And that's great. Showing cutscenes of things that are happening with, like, showing cutscenes of plans that the antagonist is making, including, like, kind of details for what they're doing, is very heavy-handed. And offers, like, it gives away more than it actually, like, it reveals too much. There's no need for that. Be subtle. Only time I played D&D was in Fable 3. I've never played a Fable game. I haven't. Freaking things though. First name is Mothra. Yeah, it is Dust Ox time. We did a ROM hack last week and had a Dust Ox and named it Mothra. And then I didn't keep going with the ROM hack because, frankly, I wasn't a fan of it. So we decided to give Mothra a second life, if you will, in this ROM hack instead. Oh, I should not have stayed with Mothra. That did shit damage. That's awesome. Can we give a special shout out to the quality of life change where every Pokemon gets equal and full experience? Because honestly, that is saving us so much time right now. We are leveling up twice as fast as we would be normally. So I'll be like, yeah, let me just take any special attack. Yeah. Let alone, like, a special attack it's weak to. It's so good. I have the feeling like in the long run, I'm gonna be very pleasantly shocked by what Dustox is capable of. In the same way I was impressed by Beautifly. She also can't be statused. Mothra can't be statused at all. Oh, love it. Oh yeah, and it has high special defense. That's really good, actually. For what, Poison Bug? What is it? Yeah, Poison Bug? That's really good for Poison Bug. Well, every enemy's fucked. What do you have? Chlorophyll, okay. You're a physical attacker still, which I think is weird. Remember in old ones when you had to start with a weak Pokemon and switch it out to get XP? That's what we're doing still, but this is a ROM hack. So normally what happens when you do that is that you, like, the two Pokemon you do that with get, like, they each get half of the experience from the defeated Pokemon. One of the quality of life changes in this ROM hack is that if you do that with Pokemon, even if you do it with, like, 3, I assume, every Pokemon gets the full experience. So, like, if we kill this Marill and it gives 70 experience upon death, if I switch to Barnacle, instead of Mothra and Barnacle both getting 35, they're both gonna get the full 70. Yeah, it's gonna save incredible amounts of time. Especially because apparently the ending of this ROM hack, like, part of what it does is it makes the end of the game, like, a little bit steeper difficulty curve. This classic Pokemon can get very grindy, and this helps tremendously. The full XP thing is definitely a thing they did in later gens, right? I thought it was for 4 or 5 at least. It might be for 5. I know that 5 has altered EXP gain. 5 and 7, I think, both have an altered EXP gain system where it modulates based on the level gap, I think, between your Pokemon and the target Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken. In general, the experience gain in Gen 5 is very generous. I know that for a fact. Gen 5 is very generous with experience. If Gen 5 had the modern EXP share, that might honestly be the best Pokemon game. I don't even know if it'd be up for debate at that point. I wonder how hard it would be to mod in the modern EXP share into one of the Gen 5 games. Or granted, one of these games. A lot of people think that the modern EXP share is, like, makes the game way too easy. Like, oh, well, no, it's so easy. It's like, what, do you want to grind? Like, it's not even that you get overpowered. I never felt overpowered in Sword or Shield. I think the game was easy, but I don't think that was a matter of leveling. I think it was a matter of, like, I know my type advantages, and, you know, I have experience playing Pokemon. But I never felt overleveled. And granted, when you don't have the modern EXP share, all that happens is that you have a team by the end of the game that's underleveled for Elite Four, and then you have to grind for like 10 hours. That's all that you end up with. It's not worth it. I wonder if it would just be a number change. I don't know, because the way EXP share, like, there's an EXP share item in this game, but the way it works is that you have to get one, and then it's a held item you give to a Pokemon, and then it splits experience. You would need to, like, import code, probably, or reverse engineer it, because I doubt the code would match up. Like, granted, it's just, like, it would end up just being numbers, so I don't think it would be the hardest thing in the world? Like, I don't think it would be rocket science. I just, like, I don't know if it would be as easy as copying pasting. Oh, I actually need to call them. Great. Oh, I do want to save. I don't think the map has any edit function. Yeah, it's just a map. Okay. Condition. I don't even know what condition does. Oh. Weird. Okay, now this will. Oh yeah, you can just skip this rival fight, just so we're all clear. You can just run by her and it never is a penalty. Yeah, that battle is only in Emerald 2, not Ruby Sapphire. Really? Where do you get her number then? Or their number, I guess. I always forget that you can play as the female protagonist because I never do. You should mention this, sure. There aren't numbers in Ruby Sapphire. Are you serious? Weird. I've never owned Ruby or Sapphire. I went straight for Emerald just because everyone says to. I paid so much money for my cartridge of Emerald 2. I think I paid 90 bucks for it. Which, granted, I'm kind of embarrassed about. That's a lot of money for a Game Boy Advance game. Granted, it's a really good game. Still a lot of money, though. Probably wouldn't do it again. There you go. Now, if the hack creator has modified trainer Pokemon levels to make them harder, does that mean Trico is going to be past the point of evolution? Just not evolved? I don't know, maybe. This is nice. I'm feeling great about levels, at least. That EXP modification is really clean. There we go. I haven't even thought about the rest of my team. I really haven't. We're gonna need a flying type. I didn't fight you, did I? We're gonna need a flying type just for fly. Or something that can learn fly, at least. Let me... I wonder if I can check that on my Pokedex app. Let's find out. First time for everything. Oh, damn. How are we gonna win this fight, guys? We're gonna win it. No, I want to filter by name. Dude, Magikarp, shit. What are we gonna do? I don't know if I can in this app. Hang on. Move Dex. I might just have to go by that. Hang on. Gen 3. Dude, it's level 7. They're really jumping up. Holy shit. Smiley, you're keeping hydrated. Thanks for keeping me hydrated. I appreciate it. What do you mean fly isn't here? Fly isn't in the Gen 3 move decks. What? What are you talking about? None of the HMs are here. Why are none of the HMs here? Josh, don't do this to me. Fly is in Gen 3. gaslight me right here. Live. I just don't think this app has any of the HMs. Yeah, it doesn't have HMs listed. That's dumb. Why? Okay, Swallow can definitely learn it. Okay, I had to do a right about wait. Wait, what is the question we're wondering about? Because I'm on Cerebi right now. It's fine. I found a way to check it. I'm seeing what Pokemon can learn Fly in Emerald. Gyarados. I'm not a big Gyarados fan. God. We could go with Skarmory just because it's here. I feel like I like Skarmory in theory, just has a really weak moveset. Or move pool, rather. Tropius is a classic HM slave. I don't want to have an HM slave though. I want to have a balanced team. Like, kind of just because we have it, our Mudkip is gonna end up being a water HM slave just because it's like that. Because Gen 3 is just like that. Fly, Cut, Strength, Rock Smash. Yeah, that covers a lot of them. You don't really need Rock Smash after a certain point though. You need it like once. Are you okay back here, girl? Oh, neat. Miracle Seed, that's good to have. Oh, Swablu's here. Let me Swablu. Swab might be fun. I don't know. I don't need to fight this. Sorry, I'm still a bit over what Pokemon can learn Fly. I hate that this is still a thing I have to do. One of the quality of life changes I really was excited about for Radical Red, which I never got to, was the fact that TMs and HMs weren't moves taught. They were just things you could do once you got them. I think that's great. It's the Let's Go method, and I think it's wonderful. I genuinely think it's perfect. It might end up being Swablu. And then Altaria. Dragon Flying is just bad either. I always wanted Altaria and Black. So. Altaria's sick. Altaria deserves respect. And I think I know where Altaria is too, so it shouldn't be hard to get. Did you go down here? I don't think we did. Not that they're really gonna give us a lot of experience, but... Actually, yeah, they're really not. I should just not fight these people. Yo, Alolan Raichu gets Reflect Pog. Are you serious? I love Raichu too much. I never think about Raichu being one of my favorite Pokemon, but I think it actually is one of my favorite Pokemon. If I ever made a team of my favorites, I think Raichu would be on it. Playing in a VGC Draft League and I'm up against a Regigigas team this week? Ooh, why? I guess Regigigas is a lot more viable in card form. I'm sure a lot of Pokemon are more viable in card form than in the game, actually. I never got into VGC, so I'm sure there's a lot of... I almost said strategy strategy I don't really get. VGC is the game's. Oh, that's right. Why did I think? Oh, that's TCG is trading card game. Too many similar letters. Usually I'm at fault for mixing words up. I feel justified on that one. I feel like that was a justified mix-up. Just like a fighting game. Use Wheezing and Gigas and Slow Start is disabled. Oh. Well. Part of me would love to try and do any kind of competitive battling. I tried it with a friend of mine when he got really into it a few years ago. I say a few years ago. It was like during late middle school. Like it was still Gen 5 era. And I tried it briefly. I just used the Pokemon that like I had from my playthrough, and immediately he kicked my ass because he had like actually bred Pokemon, and I was like, oh, I need to like put in essentially double my playtime just to get a team that works. No thank you. And granted, it's not that hard now. It's still hard. It's not that hard now. So I could do it, but I'm not going to. Let's give some items around. Scarf. No one really needs a scarf. No. BGC is a lot of fun in Sword and Shield. Planning on making videos on the league I'm in to appeal to people who don't know a ton. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. I like watching VGC fights. I don't like actively watch them, but Beard Bros did like a short series in them, and that was great. I love that. Because I love the strategy that goes into them, because you don't really have a reason to use any of those strategies in main game Pokemon. And I love, like, competitively what Pokemon is capable of as, like, a fighting structure. It just is a lot of work for a very competitive thing, and I don't know if there's I don't know if there's enough, like, reward in it for me. It's already week 2 and I don't have anything yet. Personal life has been kind of rough, so I got some catching up to do. It happens. I think pretty much everyone I know is having a rough time of it right now. I don't know if it's something in the air or what, but we're all doing our best. Be kind to yourself. Get through. Be a little bit kind. I think we can fight Brawly now, I just don't want to. Got some fishermen here. We're about to dominate with Bullet Seed though. Ned! Hi, Tentacle. I'm a gamer. My hair's a mess these days. I don't want to get it cut, it's just a mess. I want it to get long enough where I can put it back in like a little ponytail, but it's not there yet. It's gonna take another like month or two probably. My guess would be 2 months. I think in another 2 months I could probably do that. You saw us! Yeah, I swear. My hair doesn't look bad tonight. Or not as bad as it did that other night, like a week ago. Magikarp. Found it. We found the rarest Pokemon of all. We'll never find another. Where could they be? Grapio! Where could he be? I love it. There are a lot of... I'm sure I've talked about this before. There are a lot of words and phrases that I just associate with quotes. And so every single time they come up, I will say it as if it's in like the quote, and just hope that somebody knows what I'm talking about. The one I always do, and the one that my friends know I do now, is I would know. Somebody says like, oh, you know, you could do something, or like I could do something. No one would know. And I just go, I would know. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know. There's that. If I'm actively looking for something or someone, I will go, where could he be? It's not funny because I'm usually looking for someone on my own time, but it's funny to me. That's good enough. Oh, I forgot you don't get a choice of saving numbers in this game. It just happens. Hello, friend. Great. I don't want to have to... Actually, I have a spare move slot on Mothra. She can... Oh, wait. Really? I thought we had to do the cave and then Brawly. Once again, getting my order of operations mixed up. Okay, well, let's go do Brawly then. Fine. The good thing is that Mothra knows Gust. Mothra's gonna get it. You can do the cave before Brawly. Yeah, we just have to do it in the dark, and that sucks. I don't want to do that. I was to always do the letter first so I don't have to grind for Brawly. That's what I normally do. I just don't like having to go through the cave in darkness. It's just not fun. And we have Gus, which will hopefully carry us. And as I just inadvertently skip this gym. I guess you can do that. Yeah, I guess the game doesn't check. It only checks that you've delivered the letter. That works, actually. Oh, my legs! Ugh. Yeah, Brawly and Winona are skippable. I don't even remember which one Winona is. Which one's Winona? She's certainly not my Winona. Oh! I found Brawly! That's fun. Well, I'll remember he's there. Ever just accidentally go exactly where you need to go? Flying in Fort Tree, Dragon Dance Altaria. Oh! I forgot about that. Makuhita. I fucking love Makuhita. I love Makuhita so much. So good. Oh, I also have Confusion. Probably stronger. Neither are Stab, so. What? We don't have an answer for flying right now, to be honest. Maybe, when's the last time I used an electric type? Maybe now's the time. Hang on. No, nobody needs Protect. We'll get rid of Protect for Flash in a second. Hang on. I need electric. Wow, there are very few electric Pokemon in this game. That's weird. Why are there so few of them? You used Magneton in your last Crystal run, right? Yes, I did. My only options are, legitimately my only options that I haven't used yet are Chinchou / Lantern, Plusle, and then Electric / Manectric. That's it. I used mine in Omega Ruby, I used Magneton in Crystal, I've used the Pichu line, like I think a few times, and Voltorb Electrode I used in Let's Go. I used in Community Pick Let's Go. Manectric is fun. I like him. I don't actually like his sprite in this game, to be honest with you. I think it's a really gross looking sprite. I might go with Manectric just because. But I also gotta keep in mind, I'm using a lot of Pokemon that get Mega Evolutions in Oras. And whenever I get around to replaying that, I want to have something that can Mega Evolve, just for fun. The good news when I replay Oras is that I'll have used every starter, so I get a free pick of starter choice. I'll probably go with Torchic, honestly. I never really got to use Mega Combuskin, or Mega Blaziken, sorry. Remember how Mega Blaziken was released at the end of X and Y's life cycle? With the ability, or like, with Blaze Kick? And everyone was like, whoa, what? And then they did the remakes, and then suddenly it wasn't as cool because it had already been out for like a year. I do. It's weird. Mega Blaziken was like early X and Y, right? It has speed boost. It might have been early. That's right, it does have speed boost. Is that thing a bunch? I don't know if I used it. Well, I definitely didn't use it. I don't remember if it was early or late. I thought it was late for some reason. Because I got X and Y when it came out. That was like fall. I remember because I played it like during band camp. It was like competition season. It was marching band season. I have Blaziken on draft team. It's my only fire and fighting type, which is coming in clutch so far. Honestly, it's a great typing. It's just overdone for starters, so people don't appreciate it. It's a great type combination. It's just very in your face. I liked Blaziken and Emerald. It was pretty solid for Emerald. I will say, its move pool sucks in Emerald. It does. My last team in Emerald actually had a lot of Pokemon that had, like, non-accurate moves. I had Aggron, too. And Aggron is so cool looking, but its move pool is shit. The only Steel-type move it knew was Iron Tail, and that doesn't have 100% accuracy. I don't know what was up with that team. That's a weird team. I think I tweeted what that team was when I beat it. That was a weird team. Honestly, Cacturn was much closer to my actual starter. I used it more. Aggron is so cool, but so bad. Yeah, it is. Aggron looks so great. Just can't back it up. Is it wrong to say that Aggron is just like a total bimbo for Pokemon? Is that wrong? Aggron is all presentation and like no substance. Like, it's weird because Aggron is like a Full Metal Death Machine in appearance. It just, there's nothing there. You get it and it looks cool and that's about it. It can't do shit for you. Like, I'm gonna let you get a focus punch off. Like, I would let you do that. Actually, can I split this experience? Hang on. Maybe this is a bad idea. I'm going for it, though. I want more experience, I'll be honest. We have a ton of starters on this team. Never mind, Barnable's getting it. Blaziken, Rillaboom, Decidueye, and Trico. Do you actually have a Trico on the team? Because that'd be really funny. Who's hit? I love Rillaboom. People say that Rillaboom sucks, I don't get it. I actually drafted Trico, it's just the last pick of the entire league. Love it. At least then if you win, you can win with more style. Oh, I thought Meditite was the last Pokemon. Now I feel dumb. Oops. Rillaboom's really good in VGC, so I haven't heard complaints. In competitive, probably not. Casually, I feel like nobody likes Grookey. Grookey never gets love, it's really disappointing. Everyone was all over... what's its name even? Scorbunny. When the trailer got announced or released, people were all over Scorbunny, and then it became a furry and cowards backed off. Sobble's cute. The water-type Pokemon, all the recent water-type Pokemon have the visual style of like a weakling, but cute, kind of. And I don't get it. I can't even remember. I literally couldn't remember that Froakie existed. Just then. Like, I just took a second to, like, breathe and look off in the distance. I was trying to remember what the Gen 6 water starter was, because I could not remember. It's Froakie. You ever just forget that Pokemon exists? I do. Also, we kicked Brawly's ass. It was great. He looks like an old man in his field sprite, and I think it's really funny. The Knuckle Bad. Yeah, but nobody was really in love with Grookey. I love Grookey. I think he's really great. People were just not on board with Grookey, though, for some reason. Fools. Bulk Up. It's not bad, actually. Oh, I didn't even fight him. I just can't fight him now because I already beat Brawly. Whoops. I think most people I talk to like Scorbunny the least. Dude, when that trailer hit, everyone loved Scorbunny. People would not shut up about Scorbunny. I feel like the hate for Scorbunny only came in once the final evolution was shown and people realized it was a furry, and then people got upset. It turned a lot of people off, which is a bummer. Yeah, people fucking loved Scorbunny. They were so happy about it. Yeah, I remember, like, I follow a bunch of artists, so I see a bunch of fan art all the time. Especially Pokemon, because Pokemon is something for everyone. But when that trailer was released, like, everyone was drawing Scorbunny. It was mostly Scorbunny, and then Sobble, and then Grookey in third. I had to actively look for people that were excited about Grookey, and it made me sad. I like my little monkey son who hit things with a stick. He does a great job. We are definitely forgetting Flash later, for the record. Also, I hate that Uh, Dustox can't learn Fly. It should. Yeah, just can't. I guess it's small, but still. You know you can't delete it till Moss Deep? I don't even remember which city that is. Frankly. Is that the one with the 8th gym? Doesn't have a gym, but it's before the 7th. That's fine. Oh yeah, it's that. That's like the that's like the coastal city with the department store and where Team Aqua's hideout is, I think. Oh no, Lily Cove. Moss Deep is 7th. Yeah, Lily Cove is. It's coastal. Moss Deep is the island with the space station. Lily Cove is the one you're describing. Okay, yeah. That's fine. That's not too far. We can deal with having Flash in the move pool until then. It's not like we are overwhelmed with good moves for Dustox right now. We don't even have a stab move on Dustox right now. Dustox has 0 stab moves. It's dual typing and has 0 stab moves. Why am I running around in the dark when I taught Dustox Flash? Aaron, you're so cute, and your whole evolution line looks really great. You got no substance, buddy. So sorry. Dead. Dead as bread. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you know, I really like Pokemon Emerald. And I really like it with these quality of life changes. Like, I could see myself playing a lot of Emerald with these quality of life changes. Maybe I should get a flash cart and play it on my Game Boy. I've never really considered getting a flash cart before. I'm considering it now. And I like the idea. You like a flash cart? Are they expensive? Zubat, I fucking love you. Zubat gets to live. How much is a flash cart, actually? I don't know, but I would actually have motivation to play hacks on real hardware. Yeah. The only downside is that some Pokemon does really well with a speed up function, and unless you mod that into your Game Boy Advance, you don't have access to that. I almost bought a modded Game Boy Advance with a overclock function built in. And then I went for the one I have now just because it was cheaper. And I have no regrets about it, because I really don't need the overclock. It would really only be necessary for Pokemon or other RPGs. Flash carts are like 50 bucks. That's not bad. That's not bad for what you get for it. Like, it's the cost of, like, it's almost the cost of a modern game, but, I mean, playing anything you want on hardware is tempting. Oh no, I used Mawile in X, never mind. And Mawile was shit, sorry. Again, Mawile, Pokemon that looks great, no substance. Move pool sucks. Even in X, when it has fairy typing, you'd think it'd be really great. It's not. It's no moves. Oh my girl, I love you. Also, you're a really rare spawn down here. I've never actually seen you spawn here before. Shoutouts to you. What if I just impulse and bought a flash card? I did. Hi, Steven. I'm interested in rare stones. Oh. Infinite use Steelwing? Yes. I'll take that. I'll take that. Do that once again, you get to live. I'm giving you this gift. At the very least, an advantage of having a flash card would be that I can play ROM hacks and stuff on a Game Boy, like in my comfy chair or in my bed, instead of sitting in my desk chair, which I already sit in all day long. Using a third-party SNES controller. In case you've ever wondered what I use to play Game Boy and DS games on emulator, it's this. Works great. I love this controller. My kid did me right by getting it for me for my, I think Christmas several years ago. Great gift. You heard of Analog Pocket? It was in the news a while ago and it hasn't lost my attention. I've heard of it. I don't know details about it. Sleepport. I know that people have been really into the Retroid lately? I think that's what it's called. Like a handheld game console that plays like PS1 games or something. Don't really know where it came from, but you know, before I fight any of these trainers, I want to go set my checkpoint at the Pokemon Center. Sleepport. That's the mart. Roxanne. 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 I can't believe that didn't come up when we fought her. I mean, like I referenced it, I didn't sing it though. Pocket plays a bunch of classic handhelds and has external video cables, and I think you can flash stuff right on it. Define classic handhelds. And my GBAs are in good condition, so I'm interested. I bought my... I still have a GBA SP from childhood. It's not the one that I had, my silver one. I gave that away to someone like when I was young. But I have my sister's old one, and it works just fine. It was just very small in my hands. So I did research and bought a pre-modded backlit original GBA. Right here. Does all Game Boy, Neo, Geo, Atari, I think some others. Interesting. I don't have any attachment to any other handhelds, so I don't know, but this is the one I bought. It's great! The backlight's really nice. The size fits perfectly in my adult hands. It's delightful. Only problem is that the power switch is a little bit finicky, but I cleaned that and that's actually mostly fixed now. That's not a hard thing to fix if you have a soldering iron. But yeah, it's great. I forget where I was going with this. Oh, but yeah, so if you're looking for a new Game Boy, I mean, if you're looking for a Game Boy Advance specifically, can't recommend a backlit original enough. No Game Gear. I don't have any Game Gear games, but it would be fun to get some. I don't. I don't know anything about any non-Nintendo handhelds, frankly. I really don't. Also, I'm gonna go run to the bathroom. So I'll be back. Where's Substitute Josh? Where is he? There he is. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I don't say this lightly, but I think Substitute Josh might actually be my favorite asset of my channel. I think it might actually be like the favorite thing that I've drawn for this channel. I think it's hilarious. I hope that everyone else does, but I find it hilarious. It's staying forever. Hey there, Soup. It's me, Elliot. Or, I think you were the Fisher. Sorry. Wasn't there a way to turn off? I don't think I did that. Fuck. Oh, can I delete numbers? Nope. I cannot delete numbers. I'm sitting here thinking about what trade evolution Pokemon are in this game. Because I'm actually really excited about the trade evolution stone. That's a great quality of life change, it really is. Yeah, Golem's here, Alakazam is here. Machamp. It's all Gen 1 stuff. I'm trying to think if there are any Gen 3 of trade evolutions. Clamperl. That's true. It's actually very true. I wonder if the trade evolution stone still works on that. I don't see why it wouldn't if it just is a use item. It should work. Clamperl I actually really like. I've made this kind of deal with myself where whenever I do end up getting Clamperl, like whenever I decide to do that in a run, I'm gonna have both Huntail and Boribas on my team. I think I'm gonna do both in one run. I could have done that with Dustox and Beautifly too, but I used Beautifly long before I had the idea of using every Pokemon, so I probably would have done that if I thought about it now. I'm not sure if there are other Gen 3s. I don't think there are. Gen 3 is not big on trade evolutions. Wow, Marnable wrecked. Fake Out. Fake Out's actually good. I actually really like Fake Out. Free it, bud. Fake Out's great as long as you're the one using it. Every time you get hit with Fake Out, it feels like a personal affront. Good VGC move? Yeah. I'm sure that's very common in VGC. It feels like a personal insult whenever you get hit by it, but it's so good. It's so useful. Oh, we almost took out 2 tentacles in one turn. That was great. Yeah, I think that might be it. What is this? Hang on. I don't. That's water type though. I already have poison. Maybe this will be a Camerupt playthrough. Camerupt or Magcargo playthrough. Or Torkoal. I've never used Torkoal. Always wanted to. Rillaboom gets fake out? Yeah, it does. Rillaboom is so good. Oh, Bink missed, really? That's unfortunate. Might have Skarmory in the team just for Fly. Oh no, we picked Altaria for that. Yeah, Altaria can handle Fly. That would be four Pokemon. Which leaves two. I would love to get Baltoy or Claydol. I think they're such great Pokemon, but they're not until late game. So late game. Yeah, Route 111. I don't even remember where that is. Yeah, I'll check that. Tuber Lola. I don't want your phone number. It doesn't really help me. Hoenn map. Where's 111? Is Baltoy in the desert? Changes in this game too? Yeah, but it's water type. And we already have a water type. And we'll already have a dragon type with Altaria. I don't like repeating types. And at this point, I can afford to be picky. Maybe I'll get... I didn't have a Claydol in Emerald, did I? I'm losing my mind right now. Did I have a Claydol and Emerald? Hang on. I had Blaziken, Wailord, Cacturn, Swellow, Flygon. There's no way I had a Claydol. What was that 6th pick? What was the... I have no idea what that last pick was. Oh, Aggron. We were just talking about him. Aggron. Okay, so no. So I can totally get a Baltoy in the desert. Sick. I love Baltoy. Yeah, I'll go Baltoy then. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I think that'll be good. I think that'll work out. So Baltoy and Altaria for sure. That leaves one more slot. It's gonna be good. That will be Ground and Psychic. Flying and Dragon. Good paved the way for Magcargo. Wouldn't be bad. Getting Manectric? I might not, though. I'm not 100% sold on Manectric the same way I am. Like, Altaria, I'm only sold on because we need a flying type. And of the flying types that are... Like, of the fly learning Pokemon that are available to me, I think Altaria is the best choice. So I have to go with Altaria. And I always wanted to use Claydol. So I'm absolutely sold on Claydol. So Manectric could be the 6th. That's some good coverage. I'm trying to think of what weaknesses we'd have. As it stands, we don't really have an answer for flying type. We could also use Magcargo for Winona. That's a good point. That's a good point. That might be it then. I might go Magcargo. A very ground and earth heavy team. We'd have 2 ground types and a rock type, but that's not the end of the world. I don't know, we'll see. I think Altaria, if I remember my routing through Hoenn correctly, Altaria will be the last one that we get. And that will finish out the team. Which will be interesting. It'll be interesting for sure. I think this is gonna be a weird team. This is gonna be a really weird team. The full team, so, I'll just say the final evolutions. It will be Swampert, Shiftry, Dustox, Altaria, Claydol, and maybe Magcargo. It's a weird team. That's a weird team. I'm trying to think if I've ever had a weirder team than that. Those are all West Hoenn. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a shame that, like, a solid half of this region is just water. Because there are a lot of really cool, like... Something I really like Hoenn for is that it has some really cool and interesting water-type Pokemon. But I already have water-type. Whenever I play Oros on here, someone's got to remind me to save a spot for a cool water type, please. I remember where you get the desert goggles after Flannery. I know May gives them 1 point. I think you're right, it's after Flannery. Yeah, and Flannery's the whole thing. We're gonna kick Flannery's ass, though. Flannery gave me so much trouble when I played Emerald last year. Because at that point, I only had... I had Combuskin, I had Swellow, and she has Camerupt. She's got some rock-type moves. And... I think I had one other Pokemon at the time, I just don't remember what it is. Oh, I had Lairon, which got melted constantly. It was abysmal. It was a rough time. Flannery was such a barrier for me playing Emerald last year that I got and hatched the Why Not egg. Because I literally thought to myself, if I can just get Wobbuffet in there and use Counter or Mirror Coat, like, I might just be able to cheese the fight. I didn't. Wobbuffet sucks, but I remembered how much of an ass beating I got when Mirror Coat killed our lead Pokemon in the Crystal Nuzlocke so long ago, and I was like, maybe this is the run. It was decidedly not the run. Going to the battle tent? No, I'm not. Don't care about battles or tents. Not really partial to either. Yeah, let's heal up quick. Ooh. It's weird playing this sandwich between 2 days where I stream Dark Souls 3. Because Dark Souls 3, the time flies by, I think, more often. But the time goes by faster. This game, the time does not go by as quickly. It's not that I'm having less fun with this. I'm actually really enjoying this more than I thought I was going to. I knew going into this that I liked Emerald, which is why I looked for Emerald quality of life hacks. But, I forget how much I actually like Emerald. I don't know, it's weird to me that they go at two very different paces. I don't know if anything of value is here. Oh, cool. Oh, a Soothe Bell. That's nice. I'm not gonna use that. Wow. I'm not gonna answer a few simple questions. I know I love Big, and that's what counts. Why, Curlia? I haven't bought items in a little bit. Hang on. What do you have here? Whoa? What? I'm a not fan of this Pokemon music. I didn't even notice it. I'm not familiar enough with Pokemon music to know what's different and what's the same. I like it. It's very nice. It's very quaint. That might be enough. Okay, it's growing, but I like the OG better. I do appreciate the jazz. I always appreciate jazz. It makes sense, though, if you're used to one thing and you don't get it. It's different. The other good thing about only catching the 6 Pokemon I use long-term is that I save a lot of money in Pokeball. Okay, do I just have to... No, because I gotta deliver... Where do I deliver it? Yup. Okay, so it's not here. Normal RC Mart music is super upbeat and makes the Mart feel alive, so the jazz is a weird take. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't... Most Pokemon music is not as memorable to me as it is to other people. I don't know why. Shipyard. Oh, wait. No, that's the museum. Shipyard is one down. I always forget. Hi, Doc. Let me check. I mean, I've just played this game too much. That's fair. That's fair. I can honestly see this being... I could potentially see this growing to be one of my favorites. I I really do like Emerald. I think it's really good. Ugh. Tired. Anyway, I think you go to the museum now. Yeah, now I go. I know, I'm just checking for items at this point. I wonder if Platinum has any quality of life mods. It probably does. I know that the DS games are a lot harder to hack, though. Hang on. GBA hacking is very popular. It is, and it's because it's easy. Or easy relative to other things. Hang on. Flawless Platinum, okay. Someone's probably made Platinum for GBA. Yeah, I don't want it for GBA, though. Heart Gold and Soul Silver Golden Edition with quality of life changes. Yeah, there definitely seems to be less selection for Gen 4 games. Okay, base stats, types and sets, okay. Oh, okay. So, I'm reading up on... I'm reading up on Flawless Platinum right now. Some changes to movesets, abilities, types. See, I don't like the type and moveset changes. I just want quality of life changes. Like, I just want a way to play it that's not awful. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Perfect Heart and Soul sounds tempting. Hang on. Increased difficulty. All Pokemon available. 2 Wonder Card events. All trade Pokemon can be evolved without need to trade. Normal trades evolve at level 40. Item trades evolve at level up while holding the item in the daytime. That's oddly specific. Oh, that's nice. Made Glaceon and Leaf Out Magneton Nose Pass actually easily accessible. That's really nice. not bad. Although, difficulty increase just means higher levels, probably. Yeah, the tough part about wanting something very specific is that, like, for me to get what I actually am looking for specifically, I should just do it myself, but that takes knowledge I don't know. Hang on. A Pokemon use their new Gen 6 mini sprites party menu. There's cutscenes and new okay. Update to Gen 6 standards for some stats. Updated to Gen 8 movesets. How does he finish it? Okay. Interesting. Oh, Relearner is free. That's really nice. This actually seems really nice. Teams are now reusable. Yeah. That is nice. Those are some good things. Interesting. And some game corners are cleaned up. That's actually really tempting. Level curve is probably still a pain in the ass, but yeah, it sounds solid. What is this? That was Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Golden Edition. Hang on. There we go. There's also one called Mind Crystal. I don't even know. Hang on. Oh, it's only available in French. Well, unfortunate. Yeah, weird. Yeah, unfortunate that's only available in French, but whatever. Okay. I'll get back to playing now, sorry. Sometimes that happens where I get caught up in thinking about an idea, and then I just need to, like, sit down and work through it in the moment. Like, there's part of me that still wants to look into flashcards, like, right this second. I want to look up how much flashcards are and be like, is this worth it? I'm that kind of person where I get an idea and then I have to immediately indulge in that concept. It has its perks, but it also has its downsides. Actually, it's like I said last night with Dark Souls, I'm much better at a sprint than I am a marathon. I'll put my all to something for a very brief amount of time. Am I on Team Aqua or Magma? Do you mean like which team do I like more aesthetically, or which one's methods do I agree with the most, even though they're both horribly flawed? And also, are we talking Gen 3 Magma and Aqua, or are we talking Gen 6 Magma and Aqua? Different, I guess. If I had to side with them based on method of ending the world, I would probably go with Aqua. Just because we all already evolved from generally aquatic creatures. So at least I would feel better setting up future life if I guarantee there was still like oceans and water. Again, I think they're both flawed, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick Aqua. I'm thinking way long term. And I think that applies for both Gen 3 and Gen 6. In terms of designs, I'm not even really familiar with the designs from Gen 3. I think design-wise, I would also go with Aqua for Gen 6. I think I would. All the designs in Gen 6 are really great, but Team Aqua really nails it. They really do. Carvana, yes please. Yeah, I don't know about Gen 3. I'm not super familiar with Gen 3 sprites, even though I played it recently and I'm playing it currently. I remember everything's more generic. I don't know. It's weird to me too in Emerald, because in Emerald's like you're kind of pit between the two teams, or like you think that's what's gonna happen, like that you're dealing with both. But it's really a shift. Like, you kind of are befriended, like you almost befriend Team Aqua, and Team Magma is like more clear villains, and then that shifts at some point where you realize, oh shit, they're both wrong. It's weird that it does that. Well, Archie and Maxie are different, as well as their like secondary, as well as their second in commands. You just call them simps, by the way. They're simps, canonically. You only fight Archie once in this entire game, and you fight Max like 3 times? Yeah. It's weird. I don't know why. But that makes me curious too, if you play Ruby and Sapphire, if you play Ruby, do you still have to fight Magma on top of the volcano? And if you play Sapphire, do you fight Aqua on top of the volcano? Because that wouldn't make sense. Hi Scott, what's up? The Magma admins are very different auras, but actually the Aqua admins are pretty similar. Kinda? Again, I'm not super familiar with the designs. I can picture like the official actual drawn art for the admins for Gen 6. I can't do it for this. Did I do everything I had to do here? I think I did. I think I'm good. Oh, hi. What are you doing here? Why is Birch here? Yeah, you fight Aqua and Sapphire. Archie's trying to make the volcano dormant or something. Interesting. Okay. It's weird. Oh, there it is. That's a ROM hack thing. So you can go to his lab and turn off spam calls, just random calls from random NPCs. remember him coming in either. Maybe he's just supposed to call you, but they did a different thing for this where he just shows up and tells you. Yeah. I appreciate it. Good. Okay, does that mean I can call him from here and get that turned off? Hang on. Nope, I gotta go there. Do you ever get Birch's number in the OG? I don't know. Yeah, I think you do. Who knows? I only played Emerald a year ago. Okay, it's too long. Pokefang Caleb! Caleb, you look so different. Bustle and Minun. Dude, Minun was on my team for Omega Ruby. He was great. I love Minun. Minun's a bro. Minun's a homie. Through and through. That might kill if I'm lucky. No. Nope. Nope. No. Did not kill. We're getting tired hours. I forgot I stopped streaming early last night. You're gonna have to head to bed soon. That is more than fair. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm gonna try and make it to the next town, I think. And then I'll probably call it there. I'll chill a bit longer though while I figure out my team. Go for it. Whatever you want to do, no pressure. I'll try to get to the next town and then stop there. I think the cycle shop is there. I get through the May fight before Mauville, that's a rough one. Oh, yeah. I remembered the May fight was there, but I just realized that it's been buffed because of ROM hack. That might be hard. Yeah, we'll see. What? Mothra can counter Trico, or Grovyle at this point, so that's good. I just realized all they're doing is helping hand. I can just send in Bink and do Mudshot and it's over. Why didn't I do that? That's how I know I'm getting tired, is I'm making dumb decisions. To be honest, this fight is probably the hardest rival fight for me. It doesn't help that there is a lot of grass leading up to it. I remember it being difficult for sure. But also, originally when I played Gen 3, I was like trying to rush it and try to avoid as many trainer fights as possible, so I didn't have a lot of experience, and this is kind of where it matters. This is about the point in any Pokemon game where if you've been like avoiding unnecessary fights, this is where it catches up to you, is this level range. Oh yeah, I'm tired. Fuck. It just hit me. It hit me like a brick. It hit me like a big old brick. Have you no compassion or pity? What a statement. Watson doesn't make it easy either. Watson. I don't remember who Watson is. Is there an electric gym in Mauville? I forgot that Mauville has a gym. I don't even know what it looks like. I can't tell you. Shockwave with that and never miss. Oh yeah, but we've got Bink. Shockwave can't hit Bink. Bink's an untouchable mud machine. We're great. We're fine. That goes. We don't need to go to 1-3. We need to go right here. Electric gates with floor switches. Oh yeah, is it just like a rehash of Lieutenant Surge? Bink makes it easy. Yeah, we'll be fine. We've got Bang. We're in the clear. Sorta. Okay. Fine. I've done Surge like once in my life. I fought Surge many times, just from trying to play through Fire Red and then doing Let's Go twice. I forget sometimes that I've beaten Let's Go twice. It's not even one of my favorite games, just by circumstances of my life, I've beaten it twice. I had so much fun with it first time though. And I'm forever grateful that when I was playing Let's Go, you helped me with my trade evolutions. You helped me get Alexam. That was very much appreciated, thank you. You never finished Let's Go? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough to finish it. Is there a reason you didn't, or did you just kind of get like bored of it? Yeah, Josh, you were the only person I knew that had Let's Go, I'm pretty sure. Like, literally the only person. I think Moonlight's just healing, which I don't need. Doing with my girlfriend, and then we just kind of stopped, left got busy. That's fair. Yeah, I tried replaying it again, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, so like a little over a year ago. And I just didn't have the motivation to stick with it. Still, I think the best way to play through Kanto. It's not super compelling because Kanto isn't super compelling. Tsumi. Part of me is glad I'm not a popular streamer, especially for Pokemon. Because if I was, and I said that Kanto was boring, I'd get eaten alive. Can't critique Kanto, it's untouchable. It's a pinnacle of game perfection. Fine. It's a place. There's grass, I think. Some buildings, maybe, if you're lucky. Hi, man, what's up? I appreciate Kanto because it was the first region. But every single other region has been so much better because each and every region has had interesting places to go and things to do and people to see. So much to do, so much to see. It's super janky. I think it does some interesting routing stuff. Like what? You don't know you should play a Kanto game? Dude, I'm telling you, if you're gonna do it, do Let's Go. It's so much nicer. Because general Gen 1 is just jank as hell. Fire Red and Leaf Green are just a grindy mess. And you can't even grind against trainers in Victory Road because you have the Versus Seeker, but it doesn't work in caves. It's not thought out at all. You'll do Radical Red. Look, that is not Fire Red. It's Kanto, yeah, but it's a very different experience. Do what you want. Do what you want. I just need to I didn't know the AI had it in them to switch Pokemon. What a power play. What an absolute power play that was. Oh, I think the farthest I got in Kanto was in Yellow, which I actually enjoyed a lot. I have never played Yellow. I never have. I should. I mean, I would just be playing a worse Let's Go, or an older Let's Go, rather. I don't know how much it would actually like translate one. Why would I switch out? Why did you think I would switch out? Part of me wants to play Yellow just for the history, but I really don't have a good reason to other than that. Like, Gen 1 is still jank as hell. I don't think I would enjoy it. I feel like the newer game's better, but there is some kind of charm about Gen 1. I'm glad you think so, at the very least. I don't think there is. I think the games have aged too poorly for me to find any charm with them. I made a joke last night that they're held together by duct tape in a dream, and I'm not entirely wrong. Not sure I'll ever make it through a game, though. That's fair. I'm right about them being held together by duct tape in a dream. I'm glad I'm at least vindicated in that. At least get Mothra the experience for Wingull dying eventually. Yeah, like, it's funny in all the weird ways that Gen 1, like, kind of doesn't work. Like, using actual Pokemon in your party's evolution stones. It's weird as hell. It's funny, it's just weird as hell. Like, that's a method that actually benefits you. That's the way it's, like, held together by duct tape in a way that benefits you. Like, there's speed determining crit rate. The Master Ball that sometimes doesn't work. Like, it's so bizarre. Amongst missing there being no Steel or Dark type, on top of no physical special split, amongst other weird things that don't work the way they're intended to. It's weird games. Frankly, I don't know how people even speedrun them. I really don't. Like, maybe that's the only way to play them at this point, is if you know, like, every single detail of how it works and exactly how to beat it. Because I can't even fathom the idea of somebody today picking up a Gen 1 game and playing it. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. Hi, Slugmo. I can't believe Bake is going to carry us through the next two gens. Granted, Mothra carried us through the second gen. Yeah, Bink and Barnable had a split carrying of Gym 1, but it's good. Also, we beat May. Item Finder, we're never gonna use it. Just gotta get to the next town. Oh, hi, Electric. You are almost on our team. Really need to make Item Finder better in one of these hacks. Yeah, they do. I agree. Like, genuinely, I wonder how hard would it be for me to learn how to hack these games myself so I can make quality of life changes that I want. Biden! Biden! What a happy little friend! I love him. Love that guy. Oh wow, I'm super screwed, huh? This should be fun. it would probably be doable if I wanted to do quality of life changes to GBA, right? That's probably doable. Got into some light emerald hacking back in high school. It's definitely fun and not too complicated, at least for simple stuff. That's reassuring. Burped at the weirdest time. That's reassuring. Yeah, I can't believe that fake out crit. That's dirty. That's dirty right there. Yeah, I've heard that GBA hacking for Pokemon is relatively easy. Which is, again, reassuring. People have really made good software, specifically for hacking GBA Pokemon. Yeah, and that's good. I don't know. I feel like at this point, maybe all the quality of life changes that can be done to GBA Pokemon have already been done by other people. So I don't even know if it'd be worth the time. Based on the reading I was just doing, it seems like DS ROM hacks can use them. Here's the thing, it seems like every generation and every game has some kind of ROM hack that's like, every Pokemon is here in the game, get it! I don't even care about that. I don't want every single Pokemon available in the game crammed into an overworld where it feels too hectic and busy. Like, no, it's fine. If I want to use Pokemon that aren't normally found in the game, I will do a randomizer. I really love randomizers. I have no problem doing them if I want to use Pokemon in a generation when you normally can't get them under normal circumstances. That's fine. All I want is some like actual quality of life changes mechanically. And then access to event Pokemon and special events. That's more or less it. And modern EXP share is a plus. Whatever EXP modding they did for this and modern EXP share would be delightful. I would even take this. This would be like a perfect settling too. If I couldn't have modern EXP share, I would gladly still just take this. Infinite use TMs would be hard to do either if I was doing Gen 4. Like, even if I don't figure out a way to make them, like, a single infinite use item, I could probably just change the number so, like, wherever you get them, you get, like, 99 of them. Part of me would love to do video game hacking in general, just for fun, just to do stuff, but it's a whole other kind of project that realistically I do not have time for. And I don't think I could do it as well as other people can. And a lot of it would be retreading on old ground. There's little point in doing stuff that other people have already done. And like, some people have a passion for ROM hacking and that they want to make their own thing. They want to make it their own, like, game, their own project. I don't even want that. Like, if I'm gonna make a game, I'm gonna do it completely fresh from scratch. I'm gonna make it my own thing. I don't want to do, like, a fan game. If you're gonna put the time into a fan game, just make your own game. Like, obviously that's easier said than done, but seriously, if you're gonna put the time into making your own game, just make it your own game. People are making Pokemon ROM hacks with, like, literally 100% new content, from sprites to music to code and everything. Just make your own game. Just make your own game. Take the extra leap. Make your own game, please. You're doing so much work for something that will probably never serve you in the long run. Just make your own game. Make something that works better for the vision you have. You have Pokemon Uranium, which is a kind of gritty Pokemon story about, like, climate change and, like, criminal underworld, I think? Like, you can make a game that addresses that with a Pokemon-like system and just have it not be Pokemon. You can do it. So many people have ripped off the idea of Pokemon. It's not even like an original idea. There are plenty of like monster or enemy recruiting games. Just do it. Make it your own. There's a big indie game I've been like following on social media for a while, just like keep an eye on it, called Koromon, and it seems like people really like it. And it's like, it seems like it's been made with a lot of love. The only thing I don't like about it is that people are like, wow, like you really like are building off of Pokemon. And the response online from their social media team is like, no, we're not like Pokemon, we're our own thing. There's some light inspiration, but we're really just our own game. It's like, dude, your UI is Pokemon. Like, I feel like they're trying to avoid the comparison because they want to like feel more justified. It's like, you can just say that you really like Pokemon but wanted to do it better. That's fine. I don't think that's bad at all. I don't know why that's hard for people to admit. Have you heard about Fever? Wow, that's weird. Heard about Puyo Puyo Fever. I wish people, like, there's so many incredible, and this isn't even just for Pokemon, there are so many modders and, like, modders and hackers out there who make some great original content for games. You see it with Dark Souls, you see it with Pokemon, you see it with a bunch of shit, and it's really well done. And it's all built in this framework of games that already exist. And, like, again, easier said than done, but I want so badly to just, like, hold them aside and be like, please make this your own game. Like, please. Please. Do a small, like, proof of concept as a mod? Hell yeah, that's like a great way to learn. You don't even need to share it. You can if you want, but like, you can just do your own little proof of concept, like get some kind of mod or modified engine working just to figure out how. And then take the extra leap, take the time, and like, just make your own game. Again, it's much more complicated than that, and I'm aware of that. Like, you need to hire artists and code people, probably, more than just yourself. Like, it's a whole much more involved thing than that, and I understand that. I just want more people to take that leap. I really do. There's mods that are so successful that people refer to them as like definitive editions of games just made by fans. Like, if you can make a game, if you can make a mod that's so good that people refer to it as like the standard of how to play the game, you should try making your own game. Just do it. Try it. Make a good game.